What's going on, my broskies? My name is Toadski, back again, here to bring you guys yet another One Piece Treasure Cruise video. In today's video, we're going to be talking about support effects. Now, I still get a lot of questions about support effects specifically, and as of late, support effects have become ridiculously reliant upon in recent content. Especially the one that I point out specifically is the Sangoro Coliseum that came out recently on Global. Support effects are so useful for that particular piece of content, and not only just that content, but a lot of content recently has been so reliant on certain support effects. So a lot of people always ask, you know, which of the best characters should I be spending support medals on, because they are such a limited resource. They are not easy to get. So using those specific support medals is going to be relatively difficult to decide upon. So hopefully in this video you guys can understand, out of all of the Sugo Fest exclusives in the game, which specific legends are worth using the medals on. Now, of course, there are some generic rare recruits that are also very, very good in terms of their support effects, but that's not what I'm going to be going through in this video today, because there's so many rare recruits in the game. In this video, I'm only going to be focusing in on legends that have support effects that actually give you like a generic utility effect, or just give you some sort of buff or something like that. I'm not going to be talking about stat boosting supports, because there are a dime a dozen. There are so many stat boosting supports in the game, and just by looking at what the numbers say, you can kind of judge for yourself, and especially who they actually will support as well. That's also another thing you got to take into consideration, not only what the effect does, but who do they support, because if they're relatively restrictive, that effect might not actually be that good. And that's actually going to be the case with some of these characters here. Is some of their effects are really good, but they only support very specific characters, so it doesn't really help them out too much, you know what I mean? So let's get into it. Obviously, this is going to be a tier list based video, so the characters in tier 0 are going to be the ones that you probably want to be using support medals on, and most people would have a generic idea as to which characters are going to be worth using support medals on, but hopefully you get a little bit more of an understanding as to which of the other characters that you might want to focus on. And not all of these support effects are currently available on Global, only some of them are. So if you get a dupe of these units when you are pulling in a Sugo Fest, you might want to start saving some of them just in case if you want to get them for their support effect, right? So without further ado, let's get into it. Log Luffy, he's going into tier 1. He has a really unique support effect where he attaches to any of the Straw Hats. He gives them a Strength Orb on the final boss stage, and also makes Strength Orbs beneficial. So you can actually partner him up with this Akainu, version 1 Akainu. He's got a very, very similar style of support effect. So we'll talk about him when we get to him, but he's actually really good. So I would say if you have copies of Log Luffy to, you know, save them for his support effect or whatever, it is actually a pretty good support. And I did use it against Raid Carrot, I believe it was. Very, very nice. This Marco, he just gives like a 4,000 heal or something, and he only attaches to Ace or Whitebeard, so it's not that great. I'd probably put it in tier 4. I just don't think his support is all that useful, but people might find a support for it in the future, but currently, not really that good. Timeskip Luffy has a beneficial orb enable. I think he's actually coming out like in the next couple of days to Global in terms of the actual support. So he makes, I think it's Psy, Dex, and Quick Orbs beneficial to your characters for one turn. Really, really nice. I mean, we could talk about this guy as well. He's pretty similar to this Luffy as well. Like, all these Luffys have really good support effects, all making different orbs beneficial and stuff. So depending on what situation you need, you can have these characters and put them on, you know, different Straw Hat units to ensure that you get the right matching slots when you need them. This Boa Hancock is a little bit better than Marco because she does provide a little bit of a heal, I think. I'll actually double check. I've got the database up on the side. Boa Hancock. She gives a little bit of a healing and also changes some orbs around. Yeah, so you recover 2,500 health and changes left column slots into matching. But the problem is she only supports Marigold, Sandazonia, and Luffy. A little bit of a downside there, but the actual effect itself is better, and she can actually attach to one more unit compared to Marco, so I do think that her support is just generically better, right? Raley, tier 0, hands down. If you have Legend Raley and you have not maxed his support, what are you doing? Use those medals right now to max him out. And I mean, we can basically go there right now. Where is he? Here he is. Corazon, if you haven't maxed him out either, go ahead and do it. They have the exact same support effect, except that Corazon can only attach to Law, and Raley can only attach to Luffy. Luffy and Law, there are plenty of good Luffy and Law units in the game. Well, Luffy and Law, the dual legend, right? So you can attach either one of these guys as a support to that unit, and then use another one of like those characters as a sub on that team. Like, just make sure to max these guys out, because Raley and Corazon are arguably the best support effects in the game. They see the most play, hands down, just removing any time you get inflicted with Bind, Despair, or Paralysis, they remove it by 2 turns, no matter what. It's so good. You need to max it out. Moving on to Shanks, though. he's not great. I'll probably put him in tier 3 because he attaches to any side character, and I think it's when you reach the final boss stage, he actually changes all the colored orbs into psi orbs, which is actually like not bad. So you could see some play with it, but it's not overly amazing, right? So I'd put him there for now. Now, as for this Trafalgar Law, this one, as well as where is his 6+? Did I leave his 6+ in here? No, it's here. They have the exact same support effect. Yes, you should probably max it out. Now, currently, it's not available on global, but for those of you who don't know what it does, it only attaches to Corazon, which this guy still as a sub is very, very good. Amazing healing and utility. But when you launch it and you have this support effect activate, it gives your entire team a 1.75 times orb boost for 1 turn. It's just generically good. You need to max it out. Like, that is extremely good. Though you're probably not going to use it all that often, but if you are using Corazon in your team, and just by activating Corazon special, you get healing, a massive amount of utility, and an orb boost on top of it. Like, it's pretty freaking good. We've got this ace. I'm going to put him in tier 2. This ace, he only attaches to very specific characters, but he actually gives you a really, really nice effect. So when you use a damage dealing or health cutting special, you lock all your orbs for 2 turns, and he attaches to Whitebeard or Marco, and you can actually use it on Whitebeard and Marco teams, which when you use their special, you get a full board of orbs essentially when you're using them as a captain anyway. So that's a really, really good unit, just to get 2 turns of orb lock. There aren't too many characters in the game that can lock orbs for 2 turns, so that's pretty good. Sengoku, I'm going to put him down the bottom there. He attaches to a low cost character. I think it's like 20 cost or lower. It's basically the same as his captain effect. 29 cost or lower, yeah. And they get a 2.5 attack boost only to that one supported character when you use that character special. So it's not that great. This Hody Jones, his actual effect is probably a tier 2, but the fact is he only attaches to the older Fishman pirate characters, and he only attaches to Fisher Tiger, and there aren't many good characters that are of that caliber, so I'd probably leave him down here for now. He just gives you some special cooldown reduction. You know, it's really nice if you ever have to deal with a special reverse, but it's not overly amazing. 6+ Zora, I'm going to leave him in tier 1. He's fantastic. He only attaches to Mihawk or Perona. But when you use that character special, they get a 2.5 chainlock for 2 turns, which is really good. So that you can actually use it on a stage prior to a boss fight. And then when you take it into the next room, if the enemy's preemptive attack gives you a negative chain locking effect, because of this support effect, you can actually dodge it. So this is a really unique effect. You're not going to use it all the time. If you're ever running a Mihawk or a Perona character, this is a very good unit to use. And I mean, when the dual unit Mihawk and Perona eventually drop on global, this is a fantastic support effect that will be used a lot for that specific unit, that is for sure. Bato is definitely tier 0 special with his support effect. He only attaches to, like, I think it's Cavendish and Robin, but it just states anytime you're inflicted with paralysis, remove it by 3 turns. Yes, you need to max that out for sure. You've got this Trafalgar Law. He is pretty good. He gives you healing and he reduces your character's special cooldown. So again, it's another really good support effect that can just get around special reverse. But again, it's not really a support effect you're going to use that often. I haven't really seen too many places where people have opted to use this, but it's okay. It's very similar to this Hody Jones, but this Trafalgar Law can attach to, I think, a few more characters. Let's have a look here. Yeah, so Luffy or Corazon. Now, both of those characters are much better than any of the older Fishman pirates, and yeah, you do get the 3000 heal and a 1-turn special cooldown reduction. Kizaru is also pretty good, but unfortunately just won't see much play because he states that when you use the special of the character, you get, you know, a full board of orbs for your shooters and slashers, which is pretty good. He doesn't get rid of block orbs, which isn't totally a big issue. But the big issue is that he only attaches to Aokiji or Akainu. And the thing is you're not really going to be running like a mono shooter team with, you know, Akainu or Kuzan all that often. And especially for the slasher stage, because I don't think there are any good slashers that are named Akainu or named Aokiji. So that's a pretty big downfall of the character. But still saying that, he can still give your team a full board of orbs if you do use it in certain situations. So it is still pretty good. Buggy, I'm going to put in tier 4 as well. He is an attack booster for characters that are 40 cost or less. I think it gives them a 2x attack boost. So it's only to the supported character, but it's very similar to Sengoku. Just very low cost units will get that really high boost just to the supported unit. So it's not that great. Tzur, I'm going to put in tier 1. He is fantastic. The only real problem with him is that he can only attach to Baccarat, Dice, or Tanaka. The Rare Recruit Dice and Rare Recruit Baccarat can definitely be used with this guy. If you don't know what he does, this Tzur, when you use the special of the support unit, his effect will activate, giving your team a 3 times chain lock for 1 turn when it's fully maxed out. So you can use that with Rare Recruit Baccarat, get an orb boost, and then also get a chain lock, or use Rare Recruit Dice for an attack boost, and also get a chain lock. So you can see pretty cool uses for this guy, but those are the only 2 characters that mainly see play with this support active. So, but even still, it's still very good. Really, really nice effect. Shiki is a pretty good unit, but the main downside here is you can only attach to Scarlet or Indigo. And the problem is Scarlet and Indigo are just complete trash, like they're never ever used. But I think he changes your entire crew slots into Recovery, which is pretty good because plenty of teams can make Recovery slots beneficial. Changes Dex, Quick, and Int characters' orbs into Recovery, and it only attaches to Indigo or Scarlet, right? He doesn't get rid of block orbs, unfortunately, but it is still a pretty decent effect. It's such a shame he can only attach to subpar units. V1 Sanji is really good because he can just guarantee you a 0.5 chain boost, and he can attach to a lot of different Straw Hat characters. So this will see play for sure, just giving your team an additional chain boost. Because the other characters in the game that provided a chain boost from their support effect was like Legend Cracker, which we'll talk about in a minute, but also like the Psy Rare Recruit Jinbei, who is still really good. He can attach to fighters and powerhouse units, but this guy's a 0.5 chain boost, which is really good. Now, this Garp also has a really good effect, but he only attaches to Kobe, Helmeppo, or Aokiji. Now, the problem here is that he has an effect where he states that, you know, if you're inflicted with Special Bind, then it removes 3 turns of Special Bind on the supported unit. And that's a big problem because there aren't any Kobe, Helmeppo, or Corazon units that remove Special Bind. So, you know, that's a bit of a problem there, and it just means that if there's ever a situation where you need to use a special under Special Bind, you can just do that, and ensuring that that one special that you do use is really good. But unfortunately, there aren't too many situations where that's going to be extremely relied upon or extremely useful, but it's an effect that I wanted to bring up. Frankie's really good. I'm going to put him in the tier 0. I think I'll put him in tier 1 for now. So for those of you who don't know, this Frankie only came out recently on Japan in terms of his support effect, but it states that when you use a damage dealing or health cutting special, you give a 1.4 attack boost to fighter, slasher, shooter, and striker characters. So just guaranteeing you a 1.4 attack boost is really good, and it can be attached to a lot of Straw Hats, or if not, I think it's nearly all the Straw Hats. You just have to do a damage dealing or health cutting special, which is not a big problem. So yeah, Frankie's pretty good just to guarantee you just a little bit of a boost. And remember, support effects do not proc enemy interrupts. So if there are any interrupts for an attack boosting effect, this is a pretty good way to get around it. Capone's really good, but unfortunately, he only attaches to Chiffon. I want to put him in tier 2 because his effect is so broken, but it only attaches to Chiffon, which is a big downside. But his effect just states you take no damage for 1 turn. Literally 100% damage reduction for 1 turn. Damage immunity, which is very good. But again, only to Chiffon. Big problem there. Zephyr, it has the same issue as Kizaru. He can attach to Bins and Ein, but it says anytime the enemy changes your orbs, Zephyr will activate, changing all of your shooter character slots, including block, into matching. So it is a lot better, but again, shooters are just so terrible in the game that it's not really going to see that much play. So if you are running a mono shooter team and the enemy does change your orbs around, this is pretty good, but again, pretty niche. Cavendish, I want to put in tier 1. This guy's actually coming really soon to global, I think, his support effect. But it's really good because it can attach to any quick unit, and it will go ahead and change the quick unit's support character's orb into quick, and then give them a 1.5 attack and a 1.5 orb boost. So if there's a mini-boss stage that's like strength, for example, you can use the special, that character gets a huge boost, and that's going to be a lot of damage towards that character just from 1 turn, like just with a free support effect, right? So that's one that you may want to consider, especially if there's a really annoying strength boss that you have to get around, and perhaps there's like a special limit, you can't really use too many specials. That might be a way to get around it. Moving on to Inuarashi, I'm going to put him into tier 3. He only attaches to very specific units like Neko Mamashi and stuff, but he gives you like a huge tap timing bonus damage for 2 turns for that unit, but it's only just that unit, very similar to the support effect of Weevil, but it's not that used really, it's not that great. But then you've got Neko Mamashi, who I would put in tier 0, and his support effect is great. Again, only very restricted to Chopper, I think Pedro, and Inuarashi, where it states anytime you're inflicted with bind or attack down, just remove it by 2 turns. So that's great. You want to probably max that one out too. Doflamingo, I want to put into tier 1. I actually just read up on this guy just today. He is fantastic. I never realized that his support effect was so good. So this guy's support effect states that you can only attach to driven units, but when your supported character uses an orb changing special or an orb randomizing special, you get a 1.75 orb boost to Driven for 1 turn. So that is a fantastic effect. And you could definitely use that, like, hypothetically on a Driven team and have Bato Cavendish as your captain. And if you need an orb boost on your team, yes, you could use that guy as an orb booster, but potentially, what if the enemy reacts to an orb boosting effect? You can have that as a support instead to give you that orb boost. So that's a really, really nice support effect for that Dofi. So he's really good. Cracker is 100% going in tier 0. If there's any type of content that gives you a chain coefficient reduction or a chain lock that you don't like, and it's 3 turns or less, this is going to be your guy, because he can remove 3 turns of any of those chain debuffs, and then he gives you a 0.7 chain boost for 1 turn. It's fantastic. He is so good. I love this Cracker so much. Not only does he have one of the best specials in the game, he also has one of the best support effects in the game. He's so good. This guy, Vito Fujitora, he's not that good. He only changes badly matching slots into matching for slashes. And I think it's only when you use a damage dealing or health cutting special on a slasher. It's not that good. It's extremely niche. You just will never see it come up really all that often. Akainu, of course, as I said, you know, his support effect is not in the game right now, but it works very good in tandem with this Log Luffy support. So if you don't know what he does, he only attaches to strength units, and then when that strength unit uses their special, he changes all orbs to strength. Just your whole team's orbs become strength, and the character that he supports will get a 1.5 attack boost. I believe it is. I'll double check that one. But he gives you a full board of strength orbs, essentially, right? So, yeah, and it boosts the attack of strength characters by 1.5 for 1 turn. My mistake. Yeah, so full board of strength orbs, and all strength characters get a 1.5 attack boost. That is pretty good. That is extremely good, right? So you can use this Log Luffy with this to get a full board of strength orbs and make them all beneficial for 1 turn. Now, this is really good, right? I mean, not the Log Luffy, but this Akainu specifically for when we eventually go down the line and get the V2 Snake Man, because V2 Snake Man gives your strength characters a 5 times attack boost when you have specifically a recovery or a strength orb. This guy can give you a full board of strength slots, which is fantastic, right? This is awesome. I really love this Akainu. Hopefully get that support effect soon. He's definitely copping medals for sure. I don't know if I'll put him into tier 0, but right now I'd probably put him in tier 1. If you're specifically using Snake Man, this guy's like legit a tier 0 worthy support, but on global specifically, not that much. Now for Shirahoshi, I'm going to put her into tier 4. She just only attaches to like Neptune, Fukaboshi, and I think Luffy. And at the final boss stage, you change the orb into Rainbow and you get a bit of a heal. But it doesn't change Block Orb. It doesn't change the orb, including Block Orb, into Rainbow. So if you've still got a Block Orb, it doesn't really give you anything. So it's very similar to like the VV support. Nothing really special there. Then you've got this guy, V1 Qatar Curry. I'm going to put him into tier 1. He gives you a 1.4 delayed conditional attack boost when you launch the special of the support unit. This is really good because you can have another special on your team that can delay the enemy, and then you just get a 1.4 conditional boost. So I do think that that is very good. It does require setup, of course, but if you have the right units to do so, it is very, very good. Ace, I'm going to put into tier 0. He attaches to Luffy and Sabo, and anytime you're inflicted with Bind, he reduces it by 3 turns. Just amazing. Just great utility. Any character that has a mass amount of utility is going to be a tier 0 for sure. Nami, I'm going to put in tier 0 as well. Just only attaches to Kinemon and Sanji, which is a little bit of a downside. But when you launch the special of that unit, 0 defense to the enemy for 2 turns. Freaking awesome, dude. So good. Lucci, I'm going to put into tier 3 for tier 2 for now. The reason for it is because he does only support shooters, and he gives them a color affinity, which is good, but again, shooters are just pretty bad. Like, shooters are pretty close to being good, because they've got, like, really amazing support effects here. Like, these characters will all see play, like, all these shooter supports, once the shooter class becomes really, really good. But as for now, probably not. Sober Mask, I'm going to put into tier 1 as well. He attaches to a lot of the Straw Hat characters, and whenever that unit uses a special, you just get a 1.3 rainbow attack boost to your entire team. So that's really good. This guy, Lucy, I'm going to put him into tier 2. He is a very similar special to like Hody Jones. He only attaches to like Coalla, Hack, and Rebecca, which is a little bit of a downside, but you could technically use it as a support on Vivi and Rebecca, for example. But it does mean that if you are using this as a support, you can't use Sabo and Coalla on the same team as Vivi and Rebecca, which is a bit of a downside. But either way, this guy's support, he enables you to remove, he gives you special cooldown, right? So whenever you're inflicted with special reverse, that's going to be a really nice effect to have for, like, Vivi and Rebecca is the only character I can really think about right now. But there's not many too good Coalla characters. I mean, there is Sabo and Coalla, but you can't put this guy on top of Sabo and Coalla because he's a Sabo character. So that's the real big downside there. He doesn't really have too many units he can specifically support. And then Whitebeard, I'm going to put into tier 0 as well, because anytime you're inflicted with despair, you just remove it by 3 turns. Like, you can see a pretty common theme going along here with these support effects. Now, these are all of the support effects of all the legends in the game currently on global that are really, really good. So, if you have any of these characters in your character box, like dupes of them, consider saving them, because these effects might see play in the future. Now, of course, I didn't go and talk about dual units because they don't have support effects, and I also didn't talk about Vito Fujitora. He doesn't have a support effect yet on One Piece Treasure Cruise Japan. I think he's the only legend on Japan. Yeah, pretty sure. The only legend on Japan right now that doesn't have a support effect. Vito Fujitora. Very, very weird. But yeah, I do think that these are all the ones that I would probably list. Like, I do think this is a pretty decent tier list in terms of which support effects see the most play. I do definitely think tier 0 makes the most sense. Tier 1 also makes the most sense. And I don't really see too many people using these types of supports here down the bottom. But the ones in tier 0 and tier 1, those are pretty common support effects that you're going to be seeing play. Especially like these Luffy characters. The Tzur is really good. There's a Kainu who sees a lot of play on Japan. Like, these support effects are all really good. So I would suggest, if you have support medals, and you have some of these characters, specifically the tier 0 ones that have really good utility, those are the ones you want to be using your support medals on for sure. So that's going to wrap up this video today. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this one, and if you guys did, make sure to leave a like, and if you want to stay up to date with all the content that I post, including more One Piece Treasure Cruise content, make sure to hit the subscribe button down below. But other than that, guys, I'll see you guys within the next video.